What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Vegas 45. We have Derek Lewis going against Chris Daukaus in the last card of the year, looking to finish strong in terms of the picks, in terms of the bets. Had a good week last week, cashed my max bet, and guess what? I have another max bet to end the year. And this card's pretty tough from a betting perspective, but there is a couple spots that I really do like. Can't wait to break down this card, and yeah, like I said, finish the year strong, most importantly. So before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, turn on the post notification bell. That'd be much appreciated. I do want to shout out the winner from last week in terms of the significant strike contest, and the correct answer was 131, and there was a two-way tie. Jay Urenos commented 134. Somebody else commented 134 after that. He did comment first. So Jay, you do get the win. Was able to talk to him a little bit. He's going to create either a Cashapp or a PayPal and then give me that information. But congrats to you, Jay, on getting the win there. And since it is the last card of the year, I'm going to do another contest. Same thing this week. To enter the contest, first, leave a like. Second, subscribe to the channel if you are not already. And then third, comment how many significant strikes you think that Derek Lewis and Chris Daukaus are going to combine for. The winner is going to get $25, giving out some free money to end the year there. So, one last announcement. I'm going to be going live Friday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for a very special end-of-the-year live stream. I'm not going to be doing a best bet show on Tuesday, so I'm going to take my Friday Final Thoughts live stream, and I'm going to combine it with the best bet live stream on Saturday and put it all into one Friday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Going to try to bring a couple guys on there as well. I know Uncle Weezy's coming on for sure, possibly Narcocop, and looking to find another guy there. So please tune in Friday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Cannot wait for that show. But yeah, I say we get into it. As always, we'll break it down. We'll talk about some stats here and there. And yeah, cannot wait for this card here. So we have the very first fight of the night. We have Matt Sayles going against Jourdain Leavitt. We have Matt Sayles as 27 years old, 5'7", with a 67.5-inch reach, 8-3 and 3-2. In his last 5 fights. Jourdain Leavitt, 26 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach, 8-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here. We see that it is a straight pick'em. Jourdain Leavitt opened up actually minus 220, and Matt Sayles opened up plus 185, and it's now a straight pick'em at minus 110 each way. And this is a very interesting fight because I'm not high on either guy here, but there is some narrative surrounding Matt Sayles that we definitely need to look into. So there's an interview with him, and he was talking about how, first of all, he's had a big layoff. He has not fought in 1 year and 11 months, so almost 2 years, last fight against Bryce Mitchell. And he was talking about how he just had a kid. He was talking about how he's been injured, and he talked about him getting all the way up to 250 pounds, which is not great. And considering he's going to be fighting this fight at 155, and this, I believe, is going to be the first time he's ever fought at lightweight. And in the interview, he talked about kind of making a pit stop here at lightweight, and then in the future, he's going to go back down to his normal weight class at 145. So, yeah, that's definitely a big concern to me. How much has he been training in the time off? Has he been getting better? Because he's a young guy. I thought we could potentially maybe see improvements, but from what I've been hearing, he's had kind of a rough time off. So that definitely gives me a ton of pause. Him coming up a weight class gives me a ton of pause. Jourdain Leavitt is going to be the bigger guy here, and I'm not high on Jourdain Leavitt. His striking's non-existent. The wrestling's not great. He does have a wrestling background, but it's not the best. But his ground game is pretty dang good, and I have seen Matt Sayles taken down. First of all, he got taken down by Bryce Mitchell. We kind of give him a pass there. Bryce Mitchell was able to get like the second twister ever in the UFC. Not the best look in the world, but it's Bryce Mitchell. Kind of cut him some slack there, but he got taken down twice by Kyle Nelson, the striker. He got his back taken, almost got submitted, was very close to getting submitted by Kyle Nelson. Again, the striker. I did not like seeing that. I just think if Jourdain Leavitt gets this fight on the mat, which I do think he will, especially being the bigger guy, I think Jourdain Leavitt's going to have a lot of opportunities to get the submission here. But if Matt Sayles is able to stuff the takedowns, I think he knocks out Jourdain Leavitt. But I'm going to take Leavitt here, the more active guy, very good grappler. I'll be definitely looking to fade him in the future, but I think this is a fight where I'm going to pick him here. Give me Jourdain Leavitt, first round submission. All right, next fight we have Dontale Mayes going against Josh Parisian. We have Dontale Mayes, 29 years old, 6'6", with an 81-inch reach, 8-4 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Josh Parisian, 32 years old, 6'4", with a 79-inch reach, 14-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So, yeah, we see that Dontale Mayes is a pretty decent-sized favorite. Opened up minus 140. He's now minus 197. Josh Parisian opened up plus 120. He's now plus 172. And I do kind of want to get into some stats on this fight. First of all, like I said, Dontale is going to have a height and reach advantage. He's 6'6", 2-inch of height advantage, and then a 2-inch reach advantage as well. When we take a look at the striking, Dontale does land 4.13 significant strikes per minute with a 45% accuracy, absorbing 4.46 significant strikes per minute with a negative 0.33 significant strike differential and a 43% striking defense. Horrible, terrible numbers, absorbing more than he's giving out, that 43% striking defense, that 45% striking accuracy. That's not something you like to see out of Dontale. On the Josh Parisian side, it is a little bit better. One thing I like about Josh Parisian, and there's not a lot of things to like, but one thing I like is his toughness. The other thing I like is the ability to go out there and throw a ton and land a ton as well. He's landing over 6.5 significant strikes per minute with a 50% accuracy. He does absorb a lot, absorbing 6.13 significant strikes per minute, but he does have a positive significant strike differential of 0.4, and he also, as well as Mays, has a 43% striking defense. So on the feet, I do like the volume of Parisian, but he is going to be at a slight reach disadvantage here, but I think the volume could definitely pay dividends here for Parisian. In terms of the grappling, if anybody's going to go for a takedown in this fight, I do think it's going to be Parisian. Not so much inside the UFC, but outside of the UFC, he does have some takedowns. He is an okay wrestler, I guess, and maybe he is able to take down Dontale, who does have a 59% takedown defense, but I do expect this fight to majority play out on the feet. So yeah, this is a very tough fight to call. Obviously, it's a very low-level fight here. I'm actually going to take the dog here on Josh Parisian to get the upset. I like his volume. The gas tank's not there, but he's still able to fight through it, and I think he's going to win a volume-based decision in a very, very sloppy fight. Give me Josh Parisian by decision, but there's no way anybody can be confident in this fight one way or another. All right, Raquel Pennington going against Maisie Chiasson. We have Pennington, 33 years old, 5'7", with a 67.5-inch reach, 12-8 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Maisie Chiasson, she is 30 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 7-1 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. So some important things to mention in terms of the tail of the tape. Raquel Pennington's going to be at a 4-inch height disadvantage. She's going to be 3 years older, and she's also going to be at a 5.5-inch reach disadvantage. So, the tail of the tape is definitely in favor of Maisie Chiasson in a pretty big way here. We see the odds. Raquel Pennington opened up minus 300. That's interesting. Currently minus 188. Maisie Chiasson opened up plus 250. She's now plus 163. So money is pouring in on Maisie Chiasson. And I actually really liked Raquel Pennington after looking into this fight. And I'll kind of talk about why. You take a look at Maisie Chiasson, there's times where there's some things in her game that I don't like. Like, say, in her last fight against Mary Renault, who, by the way, Mary Renault is like 43. She's not retired. She was able to take down Maisie Chiasson 2 times. She was able to control her for a couple minutes of that fight. I did not like that. The Lena Landsberg fight's a horrible look where Landsberg is able to take her down twice, and she controls her for 7 minutes and 45 seconds of the fight. And I thought, maybe Raquel Pennington is going to be able to hold her against the cage, potentially take her down here or there. But there is a huge factor in this fight that completely, honestly, changed my pick. I mean, this fight is going to be at 145 pounds, which I think that massively favors Maisie Chiasson, who she has fought at 145 multiple times. And she's comfortable, more than comfortable at the weight class, whereas Pennington, this is going to be her very first fight at featherweight. I do not like that. Maisie Chiasson is going to be the much bigger fighter. She's young in terms of MMA, a lot less experience, a lot less tread on the tires than a Pennington. And I'm going to say Maisie Chiasson comes out here, uses her height, her reach, her size, and wins a very close decision. But yeah, like I said earlier in the week, I was confident in Pennington, but that was at 135. I think this changes a lot. So yeah, I'm going to take Maisie Chiasson, take another upset here with the dog. I'm going to give me Maisie Chiasson to use her size and win a very close decision. All right, Charles Jourdain going against Andre Ewell. We have Charles Jourdain. He is 26 years old, 5'9", with a 69-inch reach, 11-4 and 1-2, 2-1 in his last 5 fights. Andre Ewell, 33 years old, 5'8", with a 75-inch reach, 17-8. And 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So Charles Jourdain is going to be at a 6-inch reach disadvantage, which is something to note. But we'll take a look at the odds here. We see that Charles Jourdain opened up minus 225. He's now minus 200. Andre Ewell opened up plus 190. He is now plus 170. So the line has not moved much since the opener. But this is a very close fight because I like a lot of things in the game of Andre Ewell. He has a huge reach advantage. He's always had that at 135, and now he's coming up to 145, which I think that could help him in terms of the gas tank. The only knock I've ever had on Andre Ewell is going to be the fact that he slows down a lot. I mean, there's been multiple instances where he's looking really good in the first round, round and a half. It's just he cannot keep that same pace for the entire fight. Like, losing a round to Irwin Rivera is not a good look. There's just been fights where he's slowed down, like Marlon Vera finished him in the third round. He lost to Nathaniel Wood in the third round. He lost Julio Arce late into the second round. He's just slowed down in a ton of fights, and I do not like that, and that could potentially be because of the weight cut, cutting down to 135. The guy probably cuts a lot of weight to get down there, but he's coming back up a weight class here. I think that could help him, but even then, it's still going to be a very close fight because, both guys, in terms of the striking, I think is going to be pretty similar in terms of the numbers. I love the volume of Andre Ewell, but Charles Jourdain has a ton of power. You take a look at Charles Jourdain, this is a guy that has 6 knockdowns in the UFC, which is insane considering he only has, I think, 5 or 6 fights. So he's averaging about a knockdown in each fight. So I think the power advantage is going to be massively in the favor of Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain is a finisher, a 100% finish rate. This guy has never won a decision. And we see that Andre Ewell, he's actually been finished quite a few times. Andre Ewell has been finished 5 times in his career, 2 by knockout, 3 by submission. I just feel like the more dangerous fighter is going to be Charles Jourdain. Do I disagree with the line a little bit? I feel like it could be very close up until there's a finish, but we have not seen Andre Ewell at this weight class yet, and I think we're going to find out a lot about Andre Ewell. Is he going to slow down like he has in the past? I'm not sure, but I think we're going to find out. But I'm going to go who I know for a fact that has the better cardio, and that's going to go Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain, he's gotten a third-round finish against Marcelo Rojo. We've seen him go to the third round before, and he's looked great doing it. Give me Charles Jourdain for the win. Give me Charles Jourdain to win by a late finish, I think probably KO. So give me Charles Jourdain there. All right. Next, we have Ciara Eubanks going against Melissa Gatto. Very fun fight here. We have Ciara Eubanks. She is 36 years old, 5'4", with a 67-inch reach, 7-6 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Melissa Gatto, 25 years old, 5'5", with a 69-inch reach, 7-0-2 and 4-0-1 in her last 5 fights. So yeah, we'll take a look at the odds here. We see that Ciara Eubanks is minus 162. She opened up plus 110. Melissa Gatto opened up minus 130, and she's now plus 142. So the odds kind of flipped there since the opener. And this is a very interesting fight to call because you take a look at Melissa Gatto and you go through and you watch some of her past fights, and it's a horrible look. I mean, she's getting taken down easily with no resistance. She's content to just stay on bottom and throw up submissions. She has the submission win against Carol Hoza, but in that fight, Hoza was able to take her down multiple times, control her for the majority of that fight up until she got caught. There was one fight, I think it was her last draw, where I went back and watched that fight, and I really thought she clearly lost probably every single round, but I guess the judges scored it a draw because she was throwing up submissions, but she was getting taken down left and right very easily, and she didn't have an answer to really get up. And you go back and watch tape outside the UFC, and there's just zero evidence of any striking whatsoever. And that's why it's weird, because she makes her debut against Victoria Leonardo, and she just looks like a completely different fighter. Her striking looks, much improved. The takedown defense looks better. She looks just a lot better all around. And the thing that is kind of hard for me is, that's Victoria Leonardo, who is obviously not UFC caliber. And in that fight, Leonardo actually broke her arm in the first round. And, she looked good, but she was looking good against Victoria Leonardo. So I don't know how much to take into account of that fight, but we saw that Gatto did make a few mistakes on the mat. She got reversed by Victoria Leonardo multiple times. Gatto, she's definitely submission over position, and I don't know if that's going to work here against Ciara Eubanks. Eubanks, she is 7-6, but she has fought some very, very good fighters. You take a look at who Ciara Eubanks is losing to. Fighters like Caitlin Vieira, Peani Kanzad, Aspen Ladd twice, Betch Correa. That wasn't a good look, but still, she's losing to good competition. She's beating solid fighters, Lauren Murphy, Roxanne Modafferi, Julia Avila, fighters like that as well. So she's very experienced here. The thing I don't like about Eubanks in this fight is going to be the fact that she's 36 years old. 36 years old is definitely getting up there for flyweight. She's somebody that typically has struggled on the scales, even at 135. She's now back down to 125 and she looked really good on the scales in her last fight against Elise Reed, but this is one where I definitely need to see Eubanks on the scales. I want to see how she looks. And then on top of that is the cardio as well. How's her cardio going to look if this fight gets extended? So those are my two concerns on Eubanks, the scale, her age, and then also the cardio. There's a million concerns on the Gatto side. Like her takedown defense, from what I've seen, it's looked horrible outside of the Leonardo fight. And, I guess you could say she can make improvements. The last time we saw her fight outside the UFC, she was, say, 22, 23 years old. So, yes, I think she got a lot better, but Sijara Eubanks is a legit black belt in BJJ, BJJ world champion even. And I feel like Sijara Eubanks has a really easy path to victory of just getting this fight down to the mat, kind of laying, praying, and it's getting takedowns. I think on the feet is very close and competitive, but I think the takedowns will be the difference in terms of Sijara getting the win here. It's just, if this fight does get extended, which I do expect it to, is Sijara Eubanks going to be able to keep up that pace? And that's what terrifies me here. So I'm going to pick Sijara Eubanks to win by decision, but I don't think I'm going to be betting her. A lot of money has been coming in as of late on Melissa Gatto. So we'll see where that line goes, but as of now, I just can't trust the 36-year-old in Sijara Eubanks. The gas tank worries me, but I will take a look and see how she looks on the scales. If she looks good, maybe I'll think about it, but I think it could be very close if this fight does get extended. So give me Sijara Eubanks by decision, winning the first 2 rounds clearly. Maybe she does lose the third, but give me Sijara Eubanks there. All right, next we have the People's Main Event. And this is personally my favorite fight on the card, and I am not even joking. We have Justin Tafa going against Harry Hunsucker. I cannot wait for this one. This one has violence written all over it. Justin Tafa, he's 9,400 on DraftKings. I don't know why I said that, but yeah, Justin Tafa, he's 20 years old. He's 6 foot with a 74-inch reach, 4-3, and then 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Harry Hunsucker, 32 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach, 7-4, and 3-2. in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and Justin Tafa is a huge favorite, opening up minus 325. He's now minus 315. Harry Hunsucker opened up plus 275, and he's plus 265, and this is another very low-level heavyweight fight. And, I mean, Harry Hunsucker could potentially be the worst heavyweight currently on the roster, but the worst heavyweight in UFC history. Like, this is a guy that he has about 2.5 minutes of gas tank, if that. And if he does not get a finish within those first 2.5 minutes, this guy folds bad. I mean, this is a guy, you look through his record, he has, I think, 2 losses where he's tapped to strikes. This is a guy that's gassing out after the 2.5 minute mark of the first round. But, he does do some things well. His wrestling's okay. I've seen him take down very low-level guys and actually submit him. He actually has a decent amount of submissions on his record. I think 4 submissions on his record, 3 knockouts. So maybe he can take down Tafa, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to have success doing that for a long, extended period of time. There's a ton of red flags on the Tafa side. You take a look at him outside of the UFC, he's getting taken down very, very easily, and that's why I kind of think Hunsucker could have success doing that, but just the gas tank of Harry Hunsucker is just horrible. Justin Tafa, 100% finish rate. Harry Hunsucker, 100% finish rate. Harry Hunsucker has never seen the second round, never seen a third round, never been to a decision. I don't think that changes here. I think this fight ends very, very early. One thing I noticed about Harry Hunsucker, he's very heavy on that lead leg. We saw Jared Vanderaa was able to hurt that leg bad, and then Tai Tuivasa especially was able to hurt that leg bad. I kind of think Tafa can maybe implement the same game plan using those leg kicks, and I think if he does, he's going to make this look pretty easy. So I'm going to take Justin Tafa here to get the first round knockout, but it's kind of like the Jourdain Wright Silva fight last week where we knew somebody was going to sleep in the first couple minutes. And, Jourdain Wright almost got Silva out of there. Looked like he hurt Silva a little bit. It could be the case with Hunsucker. I mean, I would not be shocked if Hunsucker came out here and pulled off the upset, but he has about 2 minutes to do it. If not, I think Justin Tafa probably rolls through this guy. So give me Justin Tafa to win. Give me Justin Tafa to win by first round knockout. All right, moving on. Raoni Barcelos going against Victor Henry. We have Barcelos, 34 years old, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach, 16-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Victor Henry, 34 years old, 5'7". Not sure on the reach as of now, but he is 21-5 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We do see that Barcelos is one of the biggest favorites on the entire card. I think he's the second biggest favorite at this point. right behind Amanda Lemos, but he opened up minus 250, he's now minus 325, and then Victor Henry opened up plus 210, he's now plus 275. Yeah, Barcelos is a guy that I feel like is, generally like underrated. Each and every single fight. This is a fight where he's definitely getting some respect, and that's because Victor Henry, maybe a lot of people don't know a lot about him, but he's a grappler, has some striking as well. He's a very tough guy. In 26 fights, this guy's never been knocked out. He's never been submitted as well. I actually think he's a pretty solid fighter, but making your debut against Raoni Barcelos is going to be a huge task and a very tough task as well. Barcelos, he's well-rounded everywhere. The striking's really good. He's dangerous. Anywhere the fight goes, his wrestling's really good as well. And I have seen Henry taken down very, very easily. I have seen him put in some bad spots on the mat as well. In the Kyler Phillips fight, Phillips was able to take him down very early in the first round, dominate him in the first round, and Phillips kind of, gassed out a little bit, slowed down, and he was able to take over those last two rounds. So he does have a nice win over Kyler Phillips. And then one of his last fights, he was taken down so easily as well. I just feel like that's such a big path to victory for Barcelos. Get this fight down to the mat. Barcelos has a 56% takedown accuracy, which is phenomenal. And I think Barcelos can use that ground game to kind of ride out and win minutes on the mat there. And even on the feet, like you got to favor Barcelos there as well. I think Barcelos is just a better fighter pretty much everywhere the fight goes. But Henry is very tough. He has good cardio. Never been finished, like I said. Maybe he can make this dirty down the stretch if Barcelos does slow down, because Barcelos, the one knock on him would be the cardio. But I think it's a pretty solid matchup for him. Give me Barcelos to win. Give me Barcelos to win a pretty comfortable decision here. All right. Gerald Meerschaert, Dustin Stoltzfus should be a fun one here as well. Gerald Meerschaert, he is 33 years old, 6'1", with a 77.5-inch reach, 33-14. And 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Dustin Stoltzfus, 30 years old, 6 foot, with a 75-inch reach, 13-3, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here. Gerald Meerschaert opened up minus 255. He's now minus 230. Dustin Stoltzfus opened up plus 215. He's now plus 195. And I'm just not sold on Dustin Stoltzfus by the slightest. He made his debut against Kyle Daukaus. He gets outstruck 64-62 or 64-32. So 2-1 there against a grappler in Kyle Daukaus. Daukaus takes him down twice, and he's able to survive there to a decision. And then against Rodolfo Vieira, who has shown, horrendous striking at times, actually came out there and he was looking okay against Stoltzfus in terms of the striking. And that's the best striking we've ever seen out of Rodolfo Vieira, and it was against Stoltzfus. And then Stoltzfus slowed down more than Rodolfo Vieira, which was weird, because I thought it'd be, Vieira who had to get the fight done early or it'd be in trouble. But no, it was, Vieira who looked like the fresher guy in the third round, which was very, very concerning. So, Stoltzfus, I'm not sure what he's great at. He's an okay grappler, and the striking's not there. The cardio's not there. Getting outstruck by Kyle Daukaus and getting outstruck at times by Rodolfo Vieira is just not a good look. Whereas Gerald Meerschaert, he actually impressed me a ton in his last fight, and even a lot of his fights. Like, his striking has gotten much better over the years. He was able to go out there and have competitive moments against a very good striker in Makhmud Muradov. He even hurt him, I think, at the end of the first round, and then especially in the second round, he was really hurting Makhmud Muradov on the feet. So yeah, on the feet, I definitely give the advantage to Gerald Meerschaert. And when it hits the mat, Gerald Meerschaert is very, very dangerous. This is a guy that has a 94% finish rate in a sample of what? He has 47 fights. So he is getting a ton of finishes, 76% submission rate. This guy's a wizard on the mat, and like I said, the striking's coming along. I think he's a very dangerous guy. He's fought the much better level of competition by a mile. It's not even close. He's the more experienced guy by a mile. It's not even close. He's going to have the better cardio. It's not even close. I don't really think this fight's close. I think Gerald Meerschaert is going to get him out of here, whether it's a club and sub, whether it is, he's able to get this fight down to the mat, kind of drown Stoltzfus and submit him. But yeah, I'm going to go Gerald Meerschaert to win by submission here late in the fight. I think he's going to get this done pretty comfortably. I'm just not sold on Stoltzfus, and Meerschaert is a veteran you definitely have to respect. All right, Darren Elkins going against Cub Swanson. We have Darren Elkins, who is 37 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach, 26-9 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Cub Swanson, 38 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch reach, 27-12 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We see that Swanson opened up minus 155. He's now minus 190. Elkins opened up plus 135. He's now plus 165. So I do want to get into some stats for this fight here. So we do see that in terms of the striking, I think Cub Swanson's going to have a pretty significant advantage here. Very high volume, lands 4.63 significant strikes per minute with a 50% accuracy, absorbing 3.66 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.97 significant strike differential and a 60% striking defense. Very good numbers there out of Cub Swanson. Darren Elkins, on the other hand, he does land 3.46 significant strikes per minute with a 38% accuracy, which is not great. Absorbs 3.05 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.41 significant strike differential and a very concerning 52% striking defense. So like I said, on the feet, I do give the advantage to Cub Swanson pretty handily. In terms of the takedown stats, this is where it gets interesting for this fight. So Swanson averages about a takedown per 15 minutes, 51% accuracy. He is a black belt in BJJ. He does have a kind of a concerning 60% takedown defense, but we'll talk more about that 60% takedown defense in a second. Darren Elkins does land 2.67 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 33% takedown accuracy, and he has a 56% takedown defense. So back to Swanson. In terms of his takedown defense, I want to look at some of his fights as of late. So he got knocked out by Giga Chikadze, obviously a striker. Daniel Pineda, grappler, took him down once in the first round. Crone Gracie, grappler, did not take him down. Shane Burgos did not take him down. Renato Moicano took him down, very good grappler. Frankie Edgar did not take him down. Brian Ortega did not take him down. So in his last 7 fights, dating back to 2017 December, he's only been taken down twice. So I think his takedown defense has gotten a lot better. Yeah, when you look in his career, say 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, yeah, Frankie Edgar took him down 7 times back in 2014. Jeremy Stevens took him down twice back in 2014. Chad Mendes took him down 8 times back in 2010. So yeah, I mean, his numbers I think are a little bit skewed here because as of late, his takedown defense does look a lot better. And on top of that, he has been submitted a lot, but look at who he's getting submitted against. Renato Moicano, phenomenal grappler. Brian Ortega, phenomenal grappler. Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar, guys like that. Ricardo Lamas as well. So he's getting submitted by very, very good guys. He's getting finished by very good guys. Jose Aldo finished him back in 2019 as well. And I just don't know if Darren Elkins, especially, a 37-year-old Darren Elkins, is on anywhere near the level of those guys in terms of being dangerous. So I think it's a close fight on the feet. Like I said, it's going to be Swanson all day. Maybe Elkins can mix in a takedown here or there. I just don't see Elkins having a ton of success in doing that. So I think it does primarily stay standing. And at that point, I got to favor Swanson there. So give me Swanson to win. Give me Swanson to win by decision. All right, Diego Ferreira going against Mateus Gamrot. Cannot wait for this fight. We have Gamrot, who is 31 years old, 5'10", with a 70.5-inch reach, 19-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Diego Ferreira, 36 years old, 5'9", with a 74-inch reach, 17-4 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So, we'll take a look at the odds here, and Gamrot is getting a lot of respect, to say the least. He opened up minus 190, he's now minus 185. Ferreira opened up plus 165, he's now plus 160. And you take a look at Gamrot, this guy is like the real deal. I mean, you take a look at him, he is somebody that the cardio is really good. The striking's really good. The output's really good. The wrestling's really good. He's a black belt in BJJ. The takedown defense is really good. He's like the perfect fighter you look for. The IQ is there as well. He's 19-1 for a reason, and his only loss came against Guram Kuduladzé, and that was a fight I really thought he won. I thought he clearly won the first round. I thought he clearly won the third round. I thought he even could have won the second round, but Guram did drop him in the second round, so they gave it to him. But I really thought he won that fight, and a lot of people did as well. So he very well could be 20-0. So yeah, the striking's there, the grappling's there, the wrestling's there. Everything's there for Gamrot. The cardio, IQ, everything you're looking for in a fighter. Gamrot has those qualities, which makes him a very interesting fighter in the division and somebody to really look out for. But Diego Ferreira, he is a very dangerous guy anywhere the fight goes. This guy's a third-degree black belt in BJJ. The striking's very solid as well. He is on a 2-fight skid, but you kind of take a look at who he's losing to, and Beneil Dariush, who is one of the best grapplers in the division, took him down 5 times, was able to beat him there. And then also Gregor Gillespie, one of the best wrestlers in the division. 2 very good guys there. And I'm kind of worried people might be counting out Diego Ferreira here, because prior to that, he was on a 6-fight win streak. Finishing guys like Anthony Pettis, Kyle Nelson, Jared Gordon, beat Oliver Aubin Mercier as well. You take a look at his losses in the UFC. These are his UFC losses. Beneil Dariush twice, Gregor Gillespie, and then Dustin Poirier. Like, those are legit losses there. But, Ferreira, he is getting up there in age. He's now 36 years old. I really don't like to see that, especially at lightweight. That's definitely a concern. And then in the Gillespie fight, he slowed down a ton. He gassed out, and you can't entirely blame him. It was against Gregor Gillespie, a guy that puts on a crazy pace, but the age definitely concerns me. The cardio concerns me a little bit as well. But this is kind of a close fight. I feel like on the feet, it's going to be very close and competitive. I do favor Gamrot on the feet. I really like the striking, the volume of Gamrot. And then also, I think a big key for Gamrot to win this fight is going to be mixing the takedowns. So Ferreira has a 66% takedown defense. We saw that Gregor Gillespie, who's obviously a very good wrestler, took him down 4 times. Beneil Dariush took him down 5 times. I feel like, Gamrot can mix in the takedowns here or there, but he's going to have to mind his P's and Q's because, again, Ferreira is a legit third-degree black belt in BJJ. But yeah, 36 years old. I think, this is a solid spot for Gamrot. Kind of have some pause. It is a pretty significant step up in competition going from guys like Holtzman, Stevens, Kutaladze to Diego Ferreira. But I think it is a step up in competition that he does pass. Give me Gamrot to win. Give me Gamrot to win a decision. But I do think it will be a lot more competitive than that line does indicate. But I'll take Gamrot by decision there. All right, a couple fights left to go. We have Ricky Simon going against Rafael Assuncao. We have Simon, 29 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach, 18-3 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Rafael Assuncao, 39 years old, 5'5", with a 66.5-inch reach, 27-8 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here. Ricky Simon is a huge favorite. He opened up -210. He's now -275. And then Assuncao opened up +180. He is now +235. So I guess the biggest red flag I see here is going to be the fact that Rafael Assuncao is 39 years old. And that might be okay at maybe heavyweight, light heavyweight, but bantamweight, that is a huge red flag. And on top of that, he is on a 3-fight skid as well. And his recent fight got knocked out by Cody Garbrandt. Definitely not a great look. And, prior to that, he was losing to some really good guys like Corey Sandhagen, obviously, and then Marlon Moraes. His last win was back in 2018, which his last win was 3 years and 4 months ago, back when he was, 36, 35. So, yeah, Ricky Simon, I really like this guy. This guy lands about 7 takedowns per 15 minutes, has over a 50% accuracy. The cardio's there, the IQ's there. The chin is questionable at times. It's just he's 10 years younger. I think that's huge. And not only is he 10 years younger, but he's also going to have the height and reach advantage, the reach advantage by a decent margin as well. I think it's a good spot for Ricky Simon. I don't want to completely count out Rafael Assuncao, but that age is just very, very terrifying, especially at bantamweight. I think Ricky Simon's going to make it competitive on the feet, probably land the more volume. I think Assuncao's probably the better pure striker, but I think the volume of Simon will be the difference, and then especially the volume of the takedowns as well. He's going to go after takedowns and go after a lot of them. On paper, Assuncao has a very good takedown defense of 80%, but you kind of look at who he's been fighting, and not a ton of guys are trying to take him down. Sterling, 0 takedowns. Marlon Moraes, 0 takedowns. Rob Font, 0 takedowns. Sandhagen, 0 takedowns. Garbrandt, 0 takedowns. Matthew Lopez took him down once. Dillashaw took him down in both fights, but you kind of look through his fights, and not a ton of guys are really trying to get him down, and I feel like Ricky Simon's going to do exactly that. So give me Simon here to win by decision. Give me Simon to mix in the takedowns and win it pretty comfortably. All right, Amanda Lemos going against Angela Hill. We have Amanda Lemos, who is 34 years old, 5'4", with a 65-inch reach, 10-1 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Angela Hill, 36 years old, 5'3", with a 64.5-inch reach, 13-10 and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and Amanda Lemos is the biggest favorite on the card, opening at -260, and she's currently -350. Angela Hill opened up +220, and she's currently +275. So I want to talk about, first of all, the level of competition between both fighters here. Amanda Lemos, I'm just not impressed with really any of her wins in terms of the names. Obviously, she's doing it in very impressive fashion, going out there and finishing Montserrat Ruiz, who's probably not UFC caliber, in 35 seconds. Very impressive. Going out there finishing Leavitt SUB, who we know now is not UFC caliber, and she went out there and just completely dominated her. She went to decision with Mizuki Inoue, winning that fight, pretty convincingly. And then she went out there and submitted Miranda Granger, who's probably not UFC caliber. So she hasn't really had a win in terms of a name that really impresses me yet. And this is going to be a big step up in competition for Amanda Lemos, going from Montserrat Ruiz to Angela Hill, who has fought some of the best fighters in the UFC, like Tisha Torres. She's fought Michelle Watterson, went to a very close fight with her. She actually outstruck Watterson 131 to 128 in that fight. She's lost to Claudia Gadelia. She has fights against, Courtney Casey, Marina Moroz has a win there, Nina Nunez, Jessica Andrade back in the day, Rose Namajunas back in the day. So she has fought, the who's who. So she's the more experienced fighter. She's fought the much better competition by a mile. But, she is getting up there in age. She's now 36 years old. I don't like to see that, especially at strawweight. And it's kind of a close fight. I know the line does not indicate that, but it's kind of a close fight, because if Amanda Lemos goes in there and she does not finish Angela Hill, what is Lemos going to look like outside of the first round? Because we saw in the Leslie Smith fight, which was a good 3-4 years ago, and she was at 135 in that fight, but she slowed down massively after the first round. I did not like to see that. And even in the Mizuki Inoue fight, where she did go 3 rounds, she slowed down massively in that fight. Not as bad as the Leslie Smith fight, but she did slow down. And then since then, she's starching Liviane Souza, she's starching Ruiz. So what is her cardio going to look like if she does not finish Angela Hill? And I don't think she finishes Angela Hill. Angela Hill, in her entire career, 23 fights, she has never, ever been knocked out. And that's very impressive considering the level of competition, especially fighting fighters like Jessica Andrade. She ate 131 significant strikes from Jessica Andrade, and she didn't go down. Very, very impressive to me. But, Lemos, she's the younger fighter, not by a ton, but she is the younger fighter. She's been looking really good as of late against not the best competition, but she's, disposing of them accordingly, getting knockouts here and there. I think she's going to battle some adversity here. I think it'll be close. I think she's going to clearly win the first round, but I think she might slow down as the fight goes on. I'm still going to pick Lemos to win. I'm going to say she's going to land the harder shots. If she can mix in the takedowns, that could be something else to look at as well, because she is really good on the mat. But Angela Hill, as of late, her takedown defense looks much, much better. Give me Lemos to win. I'm going to take Lemos to win by decision. Could she be the first one to knock out Angela Hill? Potentially. I don't see it, but maybe. She is very dangerous on the feet. But I'm going to take Amanda Lemos to win at least those first 2 rounds. And maybe the third round probably goes to Hill there. So give me Amanda Lemos to win by a close-ish decision. Don't really understand the line, but I do think she passes this test here against Angela Hill. All right, 2 fights left. We have Stephen Thompson going against Belal Muhammad. We have Stephen Thompson, 38 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach, 16-5-1, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Belal Muhammad, 33 years old, 5'11", with a 71-inch reach, 19-3, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. So yeah, Stephen Thompson getting up there in age, 38 years old. Don't like to see that, but he's going to have a 1-inch height advantage and also a 4-inch reach advantage, which I think is pretty important here. Thompson opened up as a -250 favorite. He's now -220. Belal Muhammad opened up +210. He's now +185. So this is a fight where I think, Belal Muhammad, for him to have success, I think he needs to get this fight on the mat, and I think that's easier said than done. I think there might be some recency bias because in Thompson's last fight, Gilbert Burns was able to kind of implement that game plan of taking down Thompson and holding him down. But that's Gilbert Burns, who I think is a much, much better grappler than Belal Muhammad and has had a lot more success in terms of the wrestling, where Muhammad, he's a guy that has only a 28% takedown accuracy. I just don't know if that's going to cut it against Stephen Thompson, who typically has a very good takedown defense, a very good get-up game, and just on the feet, I think it's going to be Thompson by a significant margin here. Maybe Belal can make it close at times, but I think the better striker is Thompson for sure, especially considering that reach advantage. I know we're in the smaller cage, which is going to favor a guy like Muhammad, but I'm going to say Thompson comes out here, stuffs the takedowns, keeps it on the outside, picks apart Belal Muhammad, and wins a pretty convincing decision here. Give me a decision win for Stephen Thompson. I don't like Belal Muhammad in this spot. And now we have the main event. I do want to remind you guys, me and Uncle Weezy did a main event deep dive on Monday. If you have not checked that out, go check that out. But we have Chris Daukaus, Derek Lewis. Very good fight here. Chris Daukaus, 32 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach, 12-3, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Derek Lewis, 36 years old, 6'3", with a 79-inch reach, 25-8, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Chris Daukaus opened up -160, currently -139. Derek Lewis opened up +140, and he's currently +119. These odds are very interesting, considering you take a look at Chris Daukaus, and he actually opened up a underdog against Parker Porter in his debut. It closed around a pick'em, with him slightly being a favorite. They're -110, or -111, my bad, for Chris Daukaus. And then against Nascimento, he opened up +260, closed at +200 against Rogerio Nascimento. And now he's a favorite against a well-tested veteran of the heavyweight division in Derek Lewis, a guy in Derek Lewis who's beat Francis Ngannou. He's fought Daniel Cormier. He's fought the who's who of the division. He knocked out Curtis Blades. So yeah, Chris Daukaus is getting a ton of respect on this line. But once we go through the numbers here, you're kind of going to see why he is the favorite, and you're going to kind of see why I usually count out Derek Lewis in a lot of fights. So there's a 4-fight sample for Daukaus thus far. A lot of his fights are ending early, so take it with kind of a grain of salt, but the numbers do tell a story here. Daukaus does land 9.03 significant strikes per minute. Thus far, he is attempting 17 significant strikes per minute, where you have Derek Lewis, he's landing 2.49, attempting 5 per minute. So, Daukaus is going to have the much more, volumed approach in this fight. Obviously, we know how Derek Lewis fights, kind of sits back one shot at a time. Occasionally, he'll blitz in with a big combination of a bunch of very powerful strikes, but, typically Lewis is very low volume. Daukaus 53% accuracy, absorbing 3.4 significant strikes per minute. So he is absorbing a decent amount, but he still has a 5.63 significant strike differential and a 64% striking defense. Derek Lewis, he has a 50% striking accuracy, absorbing 2.48 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.01, which I was not expecting that for Derek Lewis to have a positive significant strike differential, but he does ever so slightly, which is very interesting. And Derek Lewis has a 41% striking defense, which is not good. In terms of the grappling stats, I don't even think we need to really mention them. Chris Daukaus on paper is a black belt, but if you go look into it a little bit more, he's never had a submission win. I know on paper it says he had a submission win, but his opponent actually tapped a strike. So between pro and amateur, he's never had a submission win. So I don't see him submitting Derek Lewis. I'd be shocked if he did. Alexei Oleinik was not able to submit Derek Lewis. And I don't even think Chris Daukaus goes for takedowns in this fight. You take a look at him. The last time we have seen him wrestle and get fights to the mat, his wrestling's not that great. His grappling does not look that great. So I don't really expect him to take down a huge Derek Lewis and be able to hold him down. And I think that would just be a big waste of energy. So I do expect this fight to stay standing and play out on the feet. Chris Daukaus, you take a look at his fights outside the UFC, and there are a ton of red flags on the guy. This is a guy that he has slowed down as the fight went on. He has won a decision before, but it was kind of controversial. I thought he personally lost that fight. I thought he won the first round, clearly lost the second, and then the third round was a toss-up. His opponent did end up on top at the end, but he has slowed down a lot in the past. He's been submitted before back in 2015. He got knocked out in a fight that he slowed down back in 2017, 2018 as well. But I think that is a completely different Chris Daukaus. Back then, as of late even, like he was a full-time police officer, but he has since then quit that job. He's focusing full-time on MMA, and we're definitely seeing a transformation in terms of the of Chris Daukaus. I mean, this is a guy that, I forget what he weighed in last fight, but this is a guy that he's shedding a lot of weight. Like, he looks in much better shape to compare him back to, say, his fights from 2015, 2016. This guy looks in a much, much better shape. So you got to think his cardio is a lot better as well. So I don't want to look into those older fights that much because there are a ton of red flags, but I do think he has improved a lot. One other thing I noticed is Chris Daukaus is very, very hittable as well. So he's definitely going to have to mind his P's and Q's because when you do throw that volume, like he does throw, when you throw 17 strikes per minute, you are going to be susceptible to getting hit, and you do not want to be hit against Derek Lewis here. Derek Lewis has so much power. But this is why I think Daukaus is a favorite. He's going to be landing the more volume. He's going to be the minute winner. Derek Lewis, he's not a minute winner. Even in some of the decisions he wins, it's like, even some of the decisions he's win, I really thought he lost. I thought he lost the Ilir Latifi fight. Latifi had him down on the mat for the majority of the time, but he did land the harder shots. And the Blago-Ivanov fight was a very close decision that could have went the other way as well. I don't see this fight going to decision, especially if Chris Daukaus comes out here and fights how he typically fights. Somebody's going to get hurt and go down. Derek Lewis, he does not look like he likes being hit. And it only takes one shot from Derek Lewis. So Chris Daukaus is going to have to mind his P's and Q's getting in close when he is landing on Derek Lewis. Lewis is always going to pull those traps. He's going to act like he's hurt. Daukaus is going to rush in. Maybe he can catch him there, but I got to go with Daukaus here. I got to go with the guy that I think is going to be winning minutes. I love the volume. I love how his cardio has looked a lot better as well, and I think he's going to finish Derek Lewis. If he comes out how he usually does, I think he's going to finish Derek Lewis in the first round, but no matter how confident I am against Derek Lewis in any spot, he can always surprise you. Like, in the Volkov fight, he was losing. Derek Lewis was every single second of that fight up until the last couple seconds. Against Curtis Blaydes, he was losing every single second of that fight up until he caught Curtis Blaydes. I was very confident in Curtis Blaydes, and I'm pretty confident in Daukaus here, but we'll see what happens. Derek Lewis, you can never count this guy out with his power, but I think it's a good spot for Daukaus. I think Daukaus does take a nice leap up in competition and passes this test here. Give me Chris Daukaus to win by first round knockout. All right, guys, that is it. We did it. 14 fights. If you guys can please leave a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. It'll be much, much appreciated. Last full card breakdown and prediction video of the year will be back in January. Cannot wait to release my new website, which is going to debut in early January as well. If you guys want to go on to dfsbythenumbers.com, type in your email. I'll send out an email whenever the site is released, so looking forward to that. Do appreciate all the support in 2021. You guys have been awesome this year. Lots of hate going on, but mostly love from you guys as well. 99% of you guys are awesome. That 1% absolutely sucks, but I'm doing this for the 99% of people out there. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. Had a good winning week last week, hoping to close 2021 with another winning week, another max bet. Keeping it short and sweet this week. Only one big play so far, looking at 2 more spots. But yeah, can't wait for this week. So we'll tune in Friday for the special end of the year live stream. Final thoughts, best bet combined into one. Bring it on some guests, should be fun. 1 o'clock Friday, p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you there. Good luck for UFC Vegas 45. Let us make some money and end the year strong. See you guys.